Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports, and breaking news: Robert Williams off Boston Celtics has a slight tear meniscus in his knee and will miss several weeks. Not good news if you're the Boston Celtics, because the Boston Celtics are number one in the Eastern Conference right now, and they are playing at a high rate. Robert Williams is very underrated as a defensive prowl in the paint. And for them to lose Robert Williams, hopefully they have somebody as good as him to step up to the plate. But no, I think the biggest, so ESPN saying, oh, what's more shocking? Lakers losing or Boston Celtics winning number one. I don't think it's a shock that Boston Celtics are losing, are winning and going to the number one Eastern Conference. But I think the fact that Lakers just can't seem to get it together, it was a bad roster. And to be honest with you, it's kind of weird to see all those kind of stars not even make the playoffs. But back when Nash, Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, and Kobe were all on the same team, you thought they would make the playoffs. Nash got injured. Pau Gasol was there with plantar fasciitis, though. So Dwight Howard was the only healthy person because Kobe barely, he made it to the playoffs, but they lost in the first round, and without Kobe to the Spurs. But then again, I'm going off on tangent with the Lakers. This is about the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are playing a phenomenal rate. Are they the top duo? Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Yeah, they are, totally. They're playing at the right time. Defense is crazy, but Robert Williams just got injured, so he's out for several weeks. But I'm going to let you guys check out this clip from ESPN, and where they're talking about, are they the top duo in the NBA right now? I think they are, 100%.
And take a look at the standings now. We've got the Celtics, Heat, Bucks, Sixers, Bulls rounding out the top five. Tim Legler, tell me this, sir. Is Boston now the team to beat in the East?
I don't think I'd take it quite that far. Look, what they've done over the last couple of months has been unbelievable, and they've played themselves into serious, legitimate title contender debate. There's no doubt about it. But I still think you've got to lean toward the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Milwaukee's a team that is very positioned exactly where they want to be. It's where they were a year ago. They're coming in. They're not trying to necessarily go all out to be the number one seed. They're just cruising along. Nobody's really talking about them because you either have a hot Celtics team getting all the attention, or you've got these sexy storylines in Philly and Brooklyn and Miami, guys trying to fight each other in the huddle. So Milwaukee's just cruising along, and they're fine with that. But here's the key. Here's why I think they should still be the favorite. One, they got it done last year. They proved that they can. So we know that they can play great when the lights get turned up. There's no doubt. But here's the bigger point. This is probably the best stretch of offense Drew Holiday has played since he's been in Milwaukee. I think he's had 7 20-point games this month. He's shooting the highest percentage he shot from the three-point line. We know what Giannis brings and how unique of a force he is. But another key is you also just now get back. Brook Lopez only been back a handful of games. Pat Connaughton missed a long stretch of time. And these are role players, but these are vital role players for the Milwaukee Bucks, particularly defensively what they do. And they're just getting back. They're both on minutes restriction. I just think it'd be a real leap to automatically say that Boston just jumped to the front of the line and you're going to dismiss a team like Milwaukee, a defending champion, that still has that unique force in Giannis, and they're getting guys back at the right time. I like the Bucks. I think they are still the team that deserves the respect to be considered the favorite right now.
You know what, Legs? I was going to come on here and give you the business, and you and I were going to go back and forth, and I was going to sit up here and make my case about the Boston Celtics, but This is the world we live in, right? With social media, we're able to see the news before we actually come on TV. And Robert Williams is out for several weeks. So with that being said, I can't say that the Boston Celtics are the team to beat anymore. As good as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown has been, Robert Williams is a key, a huge piece to the Celtics' success. When you talk about a guy who's in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, a guy that is everything that they need on the offensive end for a spacing because of his ability to pick and roll to the basket and be a lob threat that opens up the floor for everybody to go to work, and you have to pay attention to him. The way that he offensive rebounds. With the Celtics about to miss him for several weeks, I can't roll with the Boston Celtics no more. And I switched up right here on national television, and I'm going with you, Leg. So we go in on a good note. I'm going with the defending champs, the Milwaukee Bucks, to defend the Eastern Conference this year. I know you wanted to come on here and argue with Big Perk, and Legs, I want to come on here and argue with you right now to end the show, but I can't. I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks for all the facts that you just stated because of the injury of Robert Williams. Without Robert Williams, I really don't know if the Celtics could get past the first round.
You're 100% right because, look, particularly when you play a team like Milwaukee, what's the one thing you absolutely have to have? You better have paint protection and rim protection when you play against Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that's what Robert Williams brings to that team. It totally changes the look of their defense. They look small out there without him, and you do not have that last line. And he's also a guy that will make a guy like Giannis and Brook Lopez pay when they go to block shots. He's the guy that then gets offensive rebound position or gets drop-off pocket passes or lobs. So, look, I didn't even know that timeline about Robert Williams. So you just told me that right now. But, yeah, I think that solidifies the argument. I think right now Milwaukee is poised to make another serious run. And I think with this right now, and you look at what Miami and Philadelphia and Brooklyn are facing and the issues that they're having right now, there's just a lot of questions about everybody. I don't think there are so many about Milwaukee right now as they enter the playoffs.
Yeah. As for the Celtics, they play the Raptors tonight, and then they have the Heat on Wednesday. But I want to go back to what you brought up in Tatum and Brown. What would you say, Perk? Where do they rank amongst the best tandems in the NBA right now? Because we've hyped a lot of other duos.
Well, they're top five. They're top five. And I feel like Jaylen Brown, he flies under the radar. And this is the reason why he got named Jaylen Underappreciated Brown, is because we don't appreciate what he's doing. Like, this guy's averaging 24, and you know the great thing about it is that now he has taken a backseat to Jason Tatum, and he's okay with it. But when you look at these two young studs, these guys that's not even 25 years of age, they're a top five duo in this league. I don't know where they fall, but I know they top five. I don't know if they number 3. I don't know if it's number 4. Again, like I told you before, Molly, it's whatever your preference is. If you want to drink hen or you want to drink Ciroc, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both will get you drunk, okay?
No, Big Perk, I'm with you. I'm just drinking water. Just water and cardio right now. Legs, where are you on this?
No, he's 100% right. Like I always say, look, do you like steak or you like sushi? I like them both. So I'm going to order both, all right? And that's what you get with them. And look, here's the thing about these two guys. As good as they have been, not good, they've been exceptional over this stretch. Here's the key. They are going to now have to do the same thing and navigate their way through the postseason, okay? So because it's going to leave you with an empty feeling if they play this well for this long and they finish the season this way. By the way, they're not just beating people right now. They are smoking people right now. They have as many 30-point wins during this stretch as they do losses total. That's how dominant they have been. But now you've got to make sure that translates to the postseason when here's what's going to happen. Teams get one team to focus on. It's the Boston Celtics. So now there's all kinds of defensive adjustments that are going to be thrown their way. Can they beat you as a facilitator? Because they're going to see more double teams, more coordinated defensive schemes because they only have to worry about 2 players. So can you handle that? Can you beat somebody as a passer if that's what the situation requires? Can you make a tough contested shot late in a game, in a one-possession game, in a series-defining moment? So there are still a lot that they've got to accomplish. But right now, I'm with Perk. You got to put him in the top 5, but you got to also wait and see what they do in the postseason. They've got to be able to navigate the pressure moments against the teams that they're going to have to go up against. Or
Listen.
after all of this, we're going to have an empty feeling in the summer, I think, about what they just accomplished.
Yep.
No question, but Perk, I understand that playoff basketball is a different deal, and Legs named about 5 teams. We get that the East is wide open, but right now, if you had to pick, would you say Boston is the favorite out of the East?
I have to, Molly. I mean, they have the best starting 5 in basketball, and you could go look at the numbers. I mean, when you talk about offensively and defensively, what they've been doing over the past couple of months, no other team in basketball, including the Phoenix Suns, has been doing what the Boston Celtics has done. But I will say this. To those top teams that are in the Eastern Conference, and Legs, you just pointed to this point. It's a great point. The Brooklyn Nets, they're going to make the playoffs, whether it's the 8th seed or the 7th seed. Here is the thing. If you that number 1 seed or number 2 seed, I don't really know if the Brooklyn Nets is that team that you want to see in the first round going against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? I'm just putting that out there because it's there to think about. And if I'm a coach, I'm thinking about those situations. I'm trying to see where I'm stacking up, who I'm going to play against, how I'm going to play against. You know, I don't really know if I want to see Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the first round.
No, you listen, all you need to know about that statement is what happened when the Brooklyn Nets went into Philadelphia on March 10th in a game that had as much drama surrounding it as any regular season game you're going to see. And guess what? Those 2 dudes ran to the light. Everybody else shrunk because it was too much for them. It was not too much for those guys. Those guys thrive on those situations. And so you're 100% right. They're going to have a legitimate shot if those 2 guys take the court. But here's, to answer Molly's question, I'm still going to lean right now to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because of what they did last year. They broke through something mentally that they really needed to have happen. And obviously Giannis did it. He played the greatest game of his life in the most important moment of his life. Very few guys can say that they're able to do that. They had disappointments 2 years prior as a number 1 seed, getting bounced, felt disappointing. They come back last year, they kind of flew under the radar in the regular season. They weren't really putting their foot on the gas. They just wanted to be healthy when the postseason started. They added Jrue Holiday, and boom, they're NBA champions. They've kind of approached this season the same way. They've had some injuries. They haven't really worried about seeding. They're just sort of laying in the grass waiting. But now that I know they can navigate those pressure moments and Giannis Antetokounmpo can make important free throws when he has to, things like that, I'm going to still give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they've earned that right. But there is no question Boston now has played themselves into a situation where you expect to see them at minimum in the conference finals.
Tell me what you guys' thoughts are. I think they are the top duos in the Eastern Conference. Boston Celtics can go to the finals. The way they're playing right now, they are demolishing teams. I think they beat Minnesota by 20 last night, and Minnesota's playing pretty good as of late. Hopefully they do have a backup for Robert Williams. If you are a Celtics fan, you should be excited 100%. If you are anybody else fan, then you kind of are worried, right, in the Eastern Conference, because if they're still number 1 in the East heading into the playoffs, they're going up against number 8, and most likely that will be the Nets. Like, I don't see the Nets missing the playoffs. I just don't. They lost to Charlotte last night by 1. Buddy's telling me that they might not make the playoffs. Nick Wright said they might not make the playoffs. I think that's a load of crap. Nets will definitely make the playoffs. If you seem to think so, that they won't make the playoffs, then you don't believe KD is the best player on the planet, which he clearly is. So they're going to make the playoffs 100%. But if they do, with the 8th seed, they're going up against Boston, if Boston holds up with the number 1 seed. And that should be one hell of a matchup. So tell me what you guys think. Is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown the number 1 duo in the NBA right now? And will Boston Celtics make it to the finals. The Jag from Jaggy Sports.